So my name is Dana Hansen. I'm the Director of Franchise Development for College Hunks, Hauling, Junk, and Moving. And I'm super excited to be able to talk to Todd Smith today. Todd is actually one of our franchise owners. We call them franchise partners because we do look at this as a partnership. And I haven't talked to Todd in a little while, but it was cool because it wasn't too long ago that Todd was going through our discovery process, trying to figure out if this is the right option for him. Todd, would you mind introducing yourself? Maybe where you're located, a little bit about your background prior to College Hunks.
Sure. Well, thank you, Dana, for the chance to talk to some prospective franchisees. But my name is Todd Smith. I'm actually, my wife and Ann, are the owners. I would be reluctant to not share her role as well because we're both sort of in this every day together. We opened our Asheville, North Carolina location just over 2 years ago. It was July of 2020. So just hit that 2-year mark a couple weeks ago. My background was exclusively in the corporate world. I joined a Fortune 100 company directly out of college and spent a 25-year career in sales and then marketing for most of the career, kind of all over the world. And then Ann's background was much more in career development and human resources, which I think paired together serves us pretty well.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And we're so blessed to have you as part of our franchise family. I am curious, as you were going through our process, I'm sure you were considering a bunch of different franchises for yourself. Like what was, what were the determining factors for you? I mean, why did you choose College Hunks? Because there are options out there. Like what was it that kind of stuck out to you?
Well, I should step back so I can say we actually did something extremely either brave or stupid, and we moved across country to start this business. So we actually moved to Asheville in June of 2020 and started the business in July. So, but prior to that, obviously there were a lot of things that we were considering doing. Among those, going back into the corporate world. And really just, the first decision was, hey, own my own business versus join someone else's business. And that was a result of kind of making a long list of the things I wanted to do and the things I didn't want to do anymore. And the list was much longer on the side of I didn't want to do anymore. So we're looking for a new experience, and we're working with a coach at the time. And to your point, evaluating a lot of different businesses, and had the gift of time in the early days of the pandemic to really dive in and go deep. And the things that we loved about College Hunks, I guess first and foremost is the brand itself. I'm a career marketer by trade, so just knowing that a brand could stand out like College Hunks did, and the core values that underpin the brand, and they're really walked, not just talked. That's what sort of drew us in. There's a couple other aspects that were really key to us, though. I think one was the role that we'd play. In other franchises, you're not in the business, working in the business every day. You may be an owner operator, distant from your everyday crews and team. We wanted to be involved in the team, so we really bought into the building leaders stories, and that was something that we really wanted to be a part of. My wife also is a huge advocate of working with nonprofits and charitable partners, and the junk removal side of the business and the move side as well gives us some opportunities to really engage in the community. There were some specifics in the business, when kind of comparing it to other businesses that I really liked, which is two things really. One is the scalability. We could kind of control the growth of the business to some degree, and manage at our pace and do things the right way, and not be under a lot of pressure just to go as fast as humanly possible to try to make a buck. That's worked out pretty well for us. But the other thing is, drew me to it beginning was that the P&L works for the smaller operations just like it works for the larger operations. You're not pushed up against a big fixed cost cliff that you've got to overcome before you can start making a profit. So those were the things that really stood out, and those being very different from a lot of different industries that we were looking at. To be clear, we knew nothing about moving or junk removal. We've learned all that in 2 years, but even that's worked out pretty well, and Asheville's a crazy market for it.
No, that's awesome that you share that. I mean, what's interesting is we have so many franchise owners that don't have a background in this industry, but What's funny is for me is, I talked to them like 6 months after they open, and they sound like they've been, like doing this their whole life. So it's pretty, it's pretty fun to see, that there's not a steep learning curve. It seems like it happens, pretty fast, kind of that immersion.
Say that. I would say the learning curve is pretty steep, but you do learn it quick. I think, again, if you are focused on doing things the right way and, serving the clients and serving your team, my wife does all of our interviewing, and she tells the people all the time that we hire people to do customer service, and we just happen to provide moving and junk removal, and that in itself is kind of stand out in the industry.
No, that's a really good, that's an excellent point. Thank you for sharing that. Your coach is, so every day at 11:11, Brand Central, we all get together for a huddle for about 15 minutes, and we kind of share good news and praise from the field, and praise for team members and a different core value every day. And it seems like almost every week your coach is giving you guys a shout out and giving you guys, some public praise. You're obviously doing things the right way. It sounds like there's a major milestone that you guys are about to hit. Do you mind sharing that?
Well, we're trying. We have a budget of $2 million this year, and we're tracking pretty far ahead of it at the moment. In fact, I think on a rolling basis, we'll hit it sometime, September, October.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, but Greg's enthusiasm is definitely. I wish I had that in a bottle. He's great, and he sings our praises. But I mean, and we again, we've tried to do things the right way. We've tried not to take on anything that we didn't feel like we could do well. We still don't do things like out of state moving. We still don't work on Sundays. So there's other growth levers out there to pull. We still need more trucks and could grow faster. But again, trying to do things the right way and make sure that the business on the books is taken care of first and foremost, and then focus on that repeat and referral and brand reputation.
No, that's huge. And there's nothing wrong with taking a systematic approach to it. If you go, sometimes I think if you go too fast, you can make mistakes that could hurt you down the road. So I think, from everything that I hear from Greg, you guys are definitely doing things the right way. I heard that recently you had a chance to take a 1 week's vacation. Did you go anywhere fun?
Well, if any vacation is fun, we just went to sit on the beach for a week in Florida, which was the first time we've done that, for any extended period of time. I'm not saying it couldn't have been done earlier, and I'm not saying that we didn't hear from work for a whole week, but it was nice to get away and know that the team could survive and thrive while we weren't here, running the business every single day. And it is our busiest season, so it wasn't like an easy decision, but we felt like we needed something to celebrate the 2 years in, and we're able to meet our daughters down in Florida who are kind of all over the place, and so it was kind of nice.
That's really cool. So how do you do it? Do you have like an operations manager that was kind of running point, when you were out? What did that look like?
So we had a gift, to be perfectly honest, about a year ago, which is a gentleman who joined us from the Tampa organization, and he was just moving to Asheville and said, maybe this will work. So we kind of dated for a little while, and he decided to join our organization last May as our head of sales and ops, and he'd done both of those positions for a much larger organization. So really relied on his experience, and it's been invaluable. But we've also got a part-time ops manager now. We've got a full-time admin, and then we're constantly challenging guys to step up. And I think that sort of all hands on deck approach works best, is cross train everybody so that you're not relying on any one person, especially me, to try to keep things going. So that's kind of the approach we take.
Sounds like a great building leader story, which obviously is one of our core values. And it's I think sometimes it's hard to give others the opportunity to step up in a leadership role, because what you bring to the table, and it's hard sometimes to let go of some of those things. But when you do, I think you can be pleasantly surprised. And it sounds like that was definitely the case for you guys.
And sometimes you get forced into it and you're surprised by it as well. I mean, I had my last day on a truck was last June 8th. I can remember the day because I had shoulder surgery the next day, which was planned for a long time. But from that moment on, I've been on jobs and job site visits and things like that, but I've never been responsible for running a crew since that day. And again, it was kind of a forced timeline, but I look back and think, I probably could have done it even sooner than that had I just given up. Now, that said, I wouldn't trade the time having spent on the trucks and with the crews for anything in the world, just because of what it gave us in terms of an understanding and how to do it right. And some of those early relationships with clients were eventful and true learning experience.
No, that's a great point. And I think other owners have kind of shared that same thing, where they're like, probably could have delegated, probably could have done some other things, earlier that, but it's hard, when you kind of know what you bring to the table, and it's a learning process. This is all new, so it definitely makes sense. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what is your proudest College Hunks moment at this point? Anything kind of stand out that was kind of a unexpected, really cool event?
I mean, I've got one in particular, but I'll just say that, all of them have revolved around our hunks. I mean, it's not just words when we tell them, that nothing happens but through them. But, we've been to a hunk wedding. We've sent multiple hunks to other hunks organizations proudly. Those are always fun experiences. We have one now who left us, who's now an ops manager at another location. So all of those are great moments. But I think my proudest is we had someone, a hunk who had been with us a little over a year, leave us back in January, and has recently rejoined us as an assistant operations manager. So, went for the grass is greener, and realized what he missed, and came back and is now again a thriving member of the team. So that makes us pretty proud when not only when good things happen to them when they leave, but hey, willing to come back and dive back in.
No, that means a lot. And it sounds like that was also the case with the gentleman that helped you while you were on vacation. Like he was looking for another opportunity with College Hunks, and he could have gone anywhere, but he chose to stay with the brand. That actually speaks volumes to kind of our, I think, would you say, our core values? Or why do you think that they would want to come back?
Well, I mean, before he came here, he had almost 10 years experience with College Hunks. So he definitely knew the brand. So I think, any apprehension was about us and what are we going to be like and how are we going to do it the way that he'd seen it done. So I take it as a huge compliment that, he joined us, as human beings and as leaders, and, thinks that we have something to give him after his years of experience. And it's pretty humbling at times, but always good when we feel like we're doing something right, especially from a culture standpoint, to have people stick. I mean, we've got hunks, we've got one tomorrow actually who's celebrating 2 years with us. So he started in week 3 of our business.
Wow.
And is still here. We've got, I think, another 8 or 10 that are right around the 1 year mark or have exceeded the 1 year mark. We've had guys, my move coordinator, my estimator came from wingman off the trucks and is now a full-time, salaried estimator. Our admin's been with us a little bit over a year. She started as a 2-day-a-week employee and now is here every day. So all that is, I think, giving the right amount of responsibility, delegating, and trying to maintain a positive culture. We tell them that the work's hard enough, so let's not make it any harder than it needs to be.
And it sounds like you're probably really good at creating a fun, enthusiastic team environment, which is something that the young people tend to gravitate to.
It's something that we honestly have to continue to remind ourselves of, because it can get a little grindy at times. And, you do forget also that, turnover is the nature of the beast, and, who remembers what and who's done what. So it's kind of a constant rejuvenation of the culture, and you rely on the ones who've been here a while to remind you when things have gotten stale and to get it sorted again. But so far so good with that.
No, that's awesome, Todd. Congratulations and continued success. 2 million in 2 years. That's really amazing, and the fact that you're able to retain hunks and help develop them and help them grow as human beings, huge. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, appreciate the interest. Thanks, Dana. Take care.
Thank you.